Good afternoon. Welcome to this week's Partner Spotlight. It is 1 o'clock p.m. on East Coast, and we're happy that you have joined us. We're going to give everybody just a few minutes here to join in and get started. Got my good friend Patrick on the line with us. Patrick's with LG, and today our Partner Spotlight's going to be with our good partner LG. Patrick, how you been?
Been good, man. I've been good. I'm enjoying the Florida sunshine down here. I've relocated back when I was with XenTegra. For everyone who's on the call, former XenTegra employee, former iGel employee, was in IT even before that. But when I was with XenTegra, I relocated from New Jersey down to Florida, and I feel like it's added a few years to my life. Having more time outside and a little bit more vitamin D. Can't complain here.
Yeah,
How about you, man? How you been?
you get the sunlight in spades down there. I'm missing it today. It's been raining for 2 days here in the Charlotte area, so I wish I had a little more sunlight right now.
Well, I should be honest though. We actually are also getting thunderstorms. It's been raining pretty hard, but so we moved about a year ago down here, and we came down. The thunderstorms, they're just so much more intense.
Mhm.
But my grass looks great. Getting plenty of water, plenty of sun. Can't complain there.
Yeah, the heat and humidity. I mean, we get pretty intense thunderstorms too. But I've experienced some of the ones down in Texas, like Houston. They get some mega storms, I feel like too. So, and I think it has something to do with all that humidity.
Yeah, man. There must be something to it. And we're kind of up on the northeast coast, so we get a little bit of a sea breeze here. I'm about 20 minutes from the beach. I'm inland. I'm out on the island.
Mhm.
But yeah, it's even with that, it's still Florida. Still pretty humid. But if I go like 20 minutes west of me, more
Mhm.
inland, it is just still. There's no breeze. There is nothing. Um, but yeah, but it's other than that, it's great. Other than the humidity, I have not a single complaint. The bugs are a little, yeah, maybe the mosquitoes too. Other than that, I can't really think of anything to complain about. Just loving it down here.
Yeah, I did 20 years on the Carolina coast, and we enjoyed the sea breeze and enjoyed that lifestyle for a while before we moved to Charlotte. So I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, yeah, man. It's very nice. Especially with kids. It's nice to be able to just take them to the beach and that type of thing. So
Well, and that's the funny thing. After 20 years, we got tired of battling tourists, and we stopped doing some of those things. So um, now we get to go back as a tourist and be part of the problem. So.
there you go. There you go.
Well, I
The
think
Jersey
it's
Shore, they
about
call
the
you a shoobie, by the way. Back up
oh,
on the Jersey Shore. Just a
shoe
little
me.
trivia for you. I guess people used to show up to the beach with a shoebox from Philadelphia, and they would call them shoobies. So if you don't live there, you're a
Interesting.
shoobie. Yeah.
I've only gotten to the Jersey Shore once. Enjoyed it. My wife did a writing conference up in the area, so that was fun.
Nice. Very cool.
Well, I think we're at time, so I'm going to go ahead and kick us off. We'll get started. So again, welcome to Wednesday's Partner Spotlight series here, hosted by myself, Phil Sellers, with XenTegra. So today we've got a partner that works with us across a lot of different use cases, but it's our great partner LG, known primarily for their great TVs and their displays and monitors, but have a feeling Patrick's going to talk to us about something a little more than just displays today. So at XenTegra, we truly believe work has no boundaries. And in honor of that, we're giving away 2 Ford Broncos this year. So a little bit later in August, we're going to be giving away one at VMware Explorer. You still have time to get entered and still got time to find out how to get qualified. It's really easy. There's 4 different pathways. You can work with us on a micro assessment. You can take a meeting with one of our vendor partners. You can just take a meeting and sit down with us to talk about managed services or a product that you're looking at. But you can find all of that information at workhasnoboundaries.com. And again, we're giving away 2 Broncos, not the low end Broncos, we're giving away some really well equipped Broncos. This is our second year doing it. And again, we believe work has no boundaries. You can work from anywhere. So take it off road, tether to your cell phone, and then get into your VDI and let's launch and be just as productive as if you're sitting in an office. So who are we at XenTegra? Well, first of all, we're a reseller, but we're also a service provider. And beyond that, we really seek to be a solution provider for our customers. Now, what does that actually mean? So we started out life with a very simple business model. We wanted to build a community and then create solutions that serve the community. That's our quote from Andy Whiteside, our founder and CEO. And he truly believes that. So how do we go about building community? We do that by getting together, hosting events with both our vendor partners and our customer partners. And we try to educate. We believe that an educated customer is the best kind of customer. So we do a lot of things to invest back into that education. Every week, we do one of these partner spotlights. Several times a month, we do free 3-hour workshops that go deep into technology, as well as give you an opportunity to do hands-on labs. We also host 12 podcasts or so and counting. I really need to actually go and figure out how many we have today. We also do lots of virtual type training sessions and workshops. So it's your choice. We can meet you where you're at in terms of education. We also subsidize training classes and conference passes. Again, all of that underscoring our commitment to helping train customers and give you education opportunities. Again, who are we? We're your value-added reseller. But as Andy likes to say, we're trying to be a VAR 2.0, something a little better, something a little different. We don't want to just be that person that's handling your transactions. We want to be a true advisor, helping you with strategic consulting services, making sure that we can come along beside you, either in a professional services manner or in a managed services capacity to help you succeed with your business goals. One of the great services that we also offer are our complimentary assessments. We've got a bunch of these based on all sorts of different technologies from VMware, Citrix, Nutanix, ServiceNow, networking. They're completely free to you, and it's a great way for you to get to know us as a company. So all that said, we're here to serve you, and we really try to do that at the end of the day with all of the different programs and things that we put together as a company. And we're here to stand by you. So when you have a problem, when you have issues, we're also that partner you can turn to. We're not going to just sign the paper and run away. We'll be here to support you for the long term. A little bit about myself. So I live in the Charlotte area. I've been in IT for about 25 years. Most of that's been on the customer side. So just like you, I am a data center focused solutions architect. What does that mean? Well, I've touched just about every type of storage array out there, just about every vendor's compute or server platform. I've been fortunate to work for great customers who bought one of everything in terms of operating systems. So I've got a varied generalist sort of background. I'm a former consultant, a sysadmin, and most recently I was director of infrastructure for a large insurance company based here in Charlotte. Outside of work, I've also tried to contribute to the community as a blogger, now as a podcaster, had the opportunity to write a book. And I think it's safe to say, I just like sharing the information I know with others. I like when other people get to succeed or maybe avoid a problem because I helped them out. Little fun fact about me, I lived in the golf capital of the world, Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, for 15 years, but I never learned how to play golf. I still do not know how to play golf. So it's one of those things that may not be in my future either. So With that said, I've got a great partner on the line with me. We've got Patrick Toner with LG. Patrick is a former XenTegra employee. I got to know him when we were working side by side, and he is now over at LG. So I'm going to turn things over to Patrick. But buddy, we are happy to have you here with us today.
Yeah, Phil, glad to be here, and thanks for having me. I think we might have to learn how to play golf together.
So you're also on the same sand trap as me, I guess.
Yes, yeah, I'm also not much of a golfer, unfortunately. I've tried to. I like to drive the golf cart. I know enough to be dangerous, but yeah, definitely not in my DNA, unfortunately.
Well, you can
But
show
but
me
yeah,
a lesson or two for sure, and I will try not to drag you down.
yeah, no, trust me, there's no dragging me down. So that's we'd be on equal footing to start. But yeah, I appreciate you having me on. Can you see my screen okay? Phil, is
Looks
it showing
great.
up? Great, awesome. Well, I'm really happy to be here today. And everybody, as Phil mentioned, I'm a former XenTegra employee, so I should probably kind of go backwards here. So I've been with LG through the start of this year, so kind of started back in beginning of the year. I'm based out of the Jacksonville, Florida area, originally from the Philly area. I lived in South Jersey for most of my life. Had a little stint in Charlotte, where I met Andy Whiteside many moons ago. And yeah, so I was able to kind of get my career started in IT. Worked many years in IT. Found myself, in a sales engineer role with iGel for about 4 years before I joined XenTegra for a little while, and then of course jumped over here to LG. So I always joke, I work with XenTegra and iGel basically every day. So it's really like nothing changed except who is actually signing my paychecks. It's a very small world for sure. But yeah, really excited to be here today to talk about what we're doing at LG because there's a lot happening at LG. There was a lot of reasons why it was so attractive to me. I'd been on the partner side with LG for about 5 years prior to joining LG, both at iGel and XenTegra. And LG is doing some really great things in the cloud IT space. When you think about endpoints, laptops, thin clients, monitors, that type of thing. And I specifically have always worked with LG in the thin client space, with my background. But you mentioned this question, Phil, and I think it's worth kind of throwing out there. I always like to ask people, hey, what do you think of when you think of LG? Many people, when we show up at events, we were just at a Citrix event a few weeks ago. We have someone up at the CUGC up in New York today. We were at just any event we go to. We always have people come to us and say, "Yeah, we saw you on the list of companies that are coming." And we're thinking to ourselves, "What are you doing here? Like, why is LG here?" Right? Because most people, when they think of LG, they think of kind of what you said, Phil.
Mhm.
Consumer electronics. So your refrigerator, your TV, your washer dryer. Of course, in our space, monitors has been a big focus on with LG. In fact, one of the things I learned when I came here, so we actually make a lot of the technology, even in other companies' monitors. So whether you're buying a ViewSonic or a Dell, a lot of the times we actually own the patents to the glass and the technology behind it, and we will OEM out to those other manufacturers. But most people think of us with these types of things, consumer electronics, and that's great. I mean, in fact, I have an LG OLED TV in my living room. Unfortunately, I did not buy it as an employee. I would have got a nice little discount, but it didn't work out that way. But we have incredible consumer electronics, and that's been LG's claim to fame for a long time. And you think of us also as a leader, right? As a global leader in the industry. So not only are we one of the largest technology companies in the world, we're actually one of the largest companies in the world. So we do, these numbers here, 55.4 billion in sales. We just have a massive operation. Of course, our main headquarters is in Korea, where LG was founded, but we have a big North American presence as well. Headquarters in New Jersey, not Charlotte, Chicago, and LA. So we have, we're kind of spread out across North America, huge presence here. But specifically, the types of things I'm going to be talking about today, it's not going to be consumer electronics. We also do other things like robots and HVAC, just massive operations with that stuff. I don't deal with any of that. What I do is I'm on the IT cloud team. So we do all different types of technology here. When you go through monitors, laptops, we have projectors. We're not seeing maybe quite as many projectors in the enterprise space as there was before. That's just kind of changed a bit. We have what we call our cloud devices, which are our thin clients and zero clients. And we actually have an entire medical display team. So when you think about needing a monitor for a really high resolution operating room, where the doctor is doing an operation, they need to see, whatever they're scoping or whatever they're operating on, a big high res solution. We're actually the leader in that space right now. So similar to the way we OEM technology to other monitor makers, other companies who make desktops for that type of workflow, they'll bring LG in. So where we may compete with them in one space, we actually partner in this space. So it's just an interesting dynamic. But specifically, even out of these categories, I'm going to focus on two of them today. So I'm going to focus mainly on our cloud devices and our laptops. And this is our cloud device lineup, and this is the lineup that basically brought me to LG. When I was a sales engineer at iGel, we had actually had a partnership with another technology company who made an all-in-one, and it didn't go well. It was a very painful process to go through. I had a customer up in the Northeast. They had hundreds of them on the shelf. They couldn't deploy them. It was just a mess. And so when LG came to us back when I was at iGel and said, "Hey, we want to make an all-in-one thin client," I was hesitant, as were other people at iGel, to even consider it. But we had a joint customer up in Buffalo. I'll actually talk about them here in a little bit. Also, as a XenTegra customer as well. They needed an all-in-one solution to run iGel for their corporate environment. So basically, in their corporate offices. And so we kind of reluctantly brought LG in. And what we found was we had just tremendous success together. They ended up rolling out all of their corporate office with their 24-inch all-in-one solution. And then, of course, and they actually expanded then into their clinical area with our thin clients as well. So it's today one of the largest LG cloud customers. Again, we'll talk about them in a little bit. Kaleida Health up in Buffalo. But that was kind of what brought me to LG. Seeing that success story back then, and then fast forwarding, just success story after success story, and just one happy customer after another. I started to just really see the value in the LG product line. And back then there wasn't much. It was only a 24-inch all-in-one and a small form factor thin client. Today we have a whole lineup of different things. From left to right, we have our 34-inch all-in-one, which is a very cool solution. It's actually what I'm working on right now. So the presentation I'm coming to you from is on our 34-inch all-in-one. And we also offer a 24 and a 27-inch all-in-one. Now, one thing to note, these all come with a webcam built in. So they're actually in the top of the bezel, and you can actually hide them. So you kind of go up there, you pop it out. Very sleek, very easy to use that. So some customers don't want that webcam visible. They keep them down. Others, like myself, I'll keep it down if I'm not using it. But it's just like, you get used to just popping it open. The other thing to note is that we have a matching second display for all of these, including our 34-inch. So the 34-inch is actually something I'm seeing more of. We have a customer looking at dual 34-inch screens. So they're looking at running a 34-inch all-in-one with a matching 34-inch monitor, and they have a stand that's top and bottom. So that's a little probably too much screen real estate for me personally, but the use case is there. And if you maybe you're a financial company doing trader type stuff where you need a lot of screen real estate, it really is a sleek solution. And the other value here with our all-in-ones, aside from the fact that it's really where we started, right, with our displays and then taking that to an all-in-one solution, so you're gonna have an awesome display. Outside of that, the other thing is all-in-ones have become very, very efficient. So back in the day, you'd have devices that maybe were, had a lot of spinning discs and moving parts. All of our stuff is, nothing like that. They're all fanless. They have an incredible, solid state drive, all of that stuff. So you don't have to worry about things failing. And we'll highlight these a little bit more in depth as we move on. The third category is our mobile thin client. I'll definitely share a little bit more with that. That's probably our fastest growing device in our lineup. And then of course, at the end, we have a traditional thin client. This is what you think of when you think of a thin client, a small form factor device. And so we'll kind of lead with that one. Our mobile thin client today, and we have actually two models of this. So we have, for all of our devices we're moving through this, we have kind of a low end, high end approach with our thin clients. So, and when I say low end, it's probably better to say entry level. So I would say 80% of our customers, they're going to use your traditional thin client. So our what we call our 600 or our 601. And so our 600 model, what you'll see there is that it's going to have your quad core Celeron processor, 4 gigs of RAM. The nice thing about these is they're also fanless, so not a lot of points of failure. They come with optional little wireless antennas, so that's standard with all of them. So you can just kind of screw them in, if you need wireless. So they're great little Wi-Fi devices. They have VESA mounts if you want to mount it to the back of an existing monitor. So this is still today a very popular use case. Customers they still like to buy a thin client like this, get two 24-inch monitors, mount this to the back of one of them, and that's probably the first or second most popular use case even today. The other thing to note with these is they have awesome amount of USB ports. So you have 6 USB ports. It's a mix of USB 2, USB 3, as well as a USB-C port. So we kind of we have a lot of just ports. When you talk about peripherals, you talk about all the things you need with the thin client. It's well equipped to handle those. And then of course I mentioned this one a little bit more earlier. We have our all-in-one thin clients with the matching monitors, and we take the same approach with these as we do with our small form factor. So you can buy this at our entry level what we call the 650 model, or our 651 model. Which has a little bit more horsepower, a higher end Intel processor, 8 gigs of RAM. So when you think about if you're a very heavy Teams user, where you're not just on Teams, but maybe you have video streams from 10 or more users on a regular basis, you're going to need a little bit more horsepower. There's some other things out there too. You might need just a little bit more horsepower. That's where you would get our higher level, our higher end model of this, but it makes it easy, right? So you kind of get the form factor you like, just based on preference. Again, if you like the dual 24s, that's probably our first or second most popular thing, again, next to the small form factor with 2 monitors. It's just clean. You have one device that's your compute, you run one cable into the second monitor, and you don't have all these different cables and points of failure with wires crimping and that type of thing. It's just a nice clean solution. So this is the other one here, and you kind of see the picture there of the guy working at his desk with the dual monitors. That's the most popular, and that's the cleanest workflow when it comes to wires and that type of thing. Just a nice, clean, easy solution. Now, I mentioned the mobile thin client as being probably our fastest growing use case, and this is definitely the case. This is something that for years in our space, customers have asked for. Hey, listen, we need to have a mobile thin client that has a little bit less spec. So I'm going to talk about our LG Gram laptop. We've had that for a few years. So back in the day, in fact, I have our, I don't know if you guys can see my video, but I have our first generation LG Gram here next to me. I still use it as my personal device. I love this thing. But that was kind of LG's offering, right? If you wanted a mobile thin client, you kind of just bought a laptop, converted it to something like iGel, and now you had a mobile thin client. The problem was there was a little bit too much spec. So as odd as that might sound, customers were coming to LG and saying, listen, we love the LG Gram form factor, but we want something with less spec, a little bit more of a thin client device. So LG took that feedback, and what they came out with was the LG Gram mobile thin client line. So today we have a 14-inch and a 15-inch. We have a 17-inch model that's about to release. We have customers pretty excited about that. And they're just great, lightweight, thin client grade, enterprise grade devices. So they're if you've ever held one of our LG Grams, they are the lightest in the industry. You pick them up, you can't believe how light they are and how solid they feel. And that's exactly what you have here. The main difference I see with the 14-inch and 15-inch, other than the screen size, of course, there's a little bit of a difference in screen size. Our 14-inch is a little bit smaller and does not have the numeric keypad that you see in the picture there. where our 15-inch does have a numeric keypad. But these things, so that's generally what customers, they'll pick one or the other based on that. Maybe they have people who need that numeric keypad. It's just a great option. And they come standard really with an i3 processor, 8 gigs of RAM, and we're actually coming out with a model that has a little bit less horsepower. So again, it sounds strange to say that, but that's what customers are asking for. Hey, can you get a little bit less horsepower in there to bring the price point down? So these things come at a great price point. If you're in that market where you need a mobile thin client, there's really never been a better time with how good wireless internet is today, and just how great our partner technologies. When you think of iGel, when you think of Chrome OS, they work so well as a mobile solution now. So definitely a solution that we see a ton of demand, and I expect we'll continue to see that as we move forward. Another device, so this wasn't in the other slide, but this is another one of our most popular devices. We're the only manufacturer today that has this use case, and it's kind of incredible to me that we are. So before I joined iGel, I was an iGel customer in healthcare, and I managed the Imprivata environment for our healthcare organization, which is basically when you go to the doctor and they have the little badge reader and they tap in. That's what Imprivata is. And so what LG did, again, this was all based on customer feedback. They said, hey, look, we want something that's white medical grade, that we can wipe down with the protocols we need to wipe it down with. And it'd be nice to have something built in so we don't have to have an extra card reader. Because a lot of times when you have maybe even an all-in-one solution on one of those workstations on wheels, you'll see in a hospital where they're wheeling around, they're scanning medication, that type of thing. That's just having a little badge reader with a USB cord that runs to the back. Sometimes they get pinched on the arms that they're on and that type of thing. So basically, LG took all this customer feedback and they came out with this device. And to be honest, this device is just phenomenal. If I was still on the customer side, I would have just completely standardized on this one and rolled it out everywhere, because it is so easy. So if you're in healthcare, and if you're an iGel customer, you think a Chrome OS Flex customer, whatever, we're fully certified. iGel is obviously our biggest partner. We'll talk about them in a second. But it's such a clean solution when you're connecting to Citrix or VMware or whatever you're connecting to on the back end, AVD, to have this very clean Imprivata badge reader built in. Doctor comes in, they tap right on the little logo there in the middle of the monitor, and they're into their session. So just a very popular solution that we have, and something that I see in healthcare is just being something that sets us apart. No one else is doing that, and I think it's again, I say that because I think it really shows the way things are done over here at LG. We take customer feedback and we put it into our solutions. We take what customers are asking for and we deliver what they're asking for. So definitely it makes it gives kind of that pride to work here for a company like that, for sure. So I mentioned our partners, and I think that this is a great slide that kind of walks through when you think about the LG Cloud Solutions, the different solutions that we partner with. So far and away, our number one partnership today is iGel. For me, I came from iGel, so we have a ton of joint customers with iGel. And all of our devices are part of the iGel Ready program. All of our devices can be, so they're basically certified that they work with iGel. So when you buy our solution, one of our devices, that when you install iGel OS and you do your updates, it's going to work. You don't have to worry about that. And of course, with iGel specifically, iGel used to have their own hardware. They announced at the end of last year that they were getting completely out of the hardware space, and that they're moving to this iGel Ready model, where they're going to focus completely on their OS and their management. They're going to let partners like LG kind of fill in that gap for the hardware. And we also partner with Stratadesk, as well. So if you're a Stratadesk customer, same thing. Everything is fully certified with them. You can buy it with the OS. And so if you're a Stratadesk customer today, we can support that, as well as Google. A lot of people don't realize that we can do the same thing with Google. So if you've ever used a Chromebook, you're familiar with Chrome OS. Google actually has kind of a different model where it's called Google Chrome OS Flex, and it allows you to install a Chromium OS, which is very similar to Chrome OS, on third-party hardware. And so we're fully certified. All of our devices are fully certified with Google, that they work, and that, so it's really a great solution. Whether you're, maybe in a school district and you're a heavy Chrome OS shop, you can just kind of go to a form factor you want instead of being stuck with, kind of lower end hardware. I think that some of us think of Chromebooks, Chromeboxes, a lot of times they're low end hardware. You can take enterprise hardware from LG, our all-in-ones, our small form factor, our mobile thin clients, whatever, and you can install it and make it a Chrome OS device, which is pretty cool. And then, of course, the other major, partner we have is Microsoft. So our form factors also have a Windows embedded, a Windows IoT model. So if you like our form factors and you're like, hey, we're for whatever reason we're using Microsoft Windows IoT, that's what we need. That's what we standardize on. We have devices that will fit that need as well. And I like to kind of point out, we could talk high level about, hey, here's what we do, and I can give you all of the different marketing, sales pitches, and that type of thing. But I think what really resonates a lot of time is not, not what the vendor says, is what the customers say. I think that's really, if you guys are on the customer side, and I get this completely coming from the customer side, you want to know what other customers are saying. You want to know what other customers are experiencing. And for us, so this is a quote. This is a healthcare customer of mine. I don't know if I don't have permission to share their name yet, so that'll be coming, hopefully. But this was a quote from them, and this customer specifically, they were a Dell shop, so they were running Dell with ThinOS. They started moving to iGel, and they've basically converted some of those Dells to iGel. But they also were looking at LG, and what they found was the LG, because we're part of the iGel Ready program, because we're fully, certified with iGel, and we work directly with iGel, what they found is they get a much better experience using the LG all-in-ones versus the Dell devices. So this is a quote from my customer here. He says, our field services teams have gone iGel crazy and are rolling them out much faster than management expected. This is because the newer LG all-in-ones have much better Wi-Fi than the old Dell Wise clients, and nurses are fighting over the newer models. And this customer went on to basically share with me that in this healthcare organization, the nurses were actually coming in early, taking off, something like a little light jacket or maybe something of one of their personal belongings, and they were putting it on their LG all-in-one cart to mark it as theirs for the day, so they wouldn't have to deal with the Dell devices. So pretty funny. I mean, it's just a great, great use case, great feedback. Again, another happy customer who loves LG and what we're doing. Another healthcare customer of mine, I mentioned these guys earlier, Kaleida Health. You can actually go online and read a case study. So I'm hoping to do a case study with the other customer I just mentioned. But Kaleida Health is probably our oldest joint enterprise customer, and of course, also a joint customer with XenTegra. XenTegra is the value-added reseller in this account. And these guys have been awesome to work with. Still keep in touch with the guys over there. But you can go, if you just go into Google and search, iGel, LG, Kaleida, any of those combinations. What you'll find is their entire use case and what they did in their hospitals. So I talked to them recently actually, and they said, yeah, man, these LGs with iGel, they just work. They were formerly a Windows IoT shop, so they had Windows embedded, and took a look at iGel, fell in love with the iGel solution, rolled it out, worked great. And with LG specifically, they're like, we don't have to really touch these things. They just run. We don't really, we push a firmware out to them here and there. Other than that, they just work. So definitely check that out when you get a chance, if you're interested, especially if you're in healthcare and interested in what other healthcare customers are doing. All right, so I'll take a breath now. I also would like to talk not just about our thin client devices, because while today that is on my team, that's our biggest business, is our thin client devices. The devices that I think are going to become probably our top seller moving forward in the future here, in the very near future, is our LG Gram laptop. And if you've ever held one of these, you'll know why. It's very apparent. So I work off of, I have a newer LG Gram laptop. That's my corporate LG device, and then I have a personal older LG Gram laptop. And the newer models, believe it or not, are even sleeker and better built and just nicer than the old ones. And I always thought the old ones were just like, wow, these things are great. So we're just continuing to innovate, to come up with new cool features in these. And the thing is, it's not a one size fits all, right? We have models, if you need an i5 processor, maybe a little bit less compute, 8 gigs of RAM, we can you can get a model. If you want even less, we have the mobile thin clients. You can technically run Windows on those as well. So if you just want a really lightweight and cheaper option, we have the mobile thin client. But our Graham Windows laptops start at the i5 level. We have up to an i7 today. I believe we'll have an i9 coming on the roadmap, but we don't have that today. You can get these with 8, 16 up to 32 gigs of RAM. And then of course they come with Windows 10 or Windows 11. So you kind of get it with Windows 11 Pro, Windows 10 Pro, whatever. Fully ready to go. The other thing that's cool about these is they come standard with the backlit keyboard. And I don't know about most people, but for me, I cannot stand when I have a laptop and there's not a backlit keyboard. I've had that happen. I remember I won't mention the brand. I spent a lot of money on a very high-end laptop through this company and didn't realize it didn't have a backlit keyboard. So there's just a pain if I'm, working at night or maybe working in the bedroom or working in, just a random, room in my house and just trying to be quiet with a little bit of low light. It's nice to have that backlit keyboard. Maybe I'm not a great typer. I don't know what it is. But it's just a great feature. So they come standard across the board. And of course, you can get up to a 2 terabyte SSD as well. So most people, I don't know that most people are doing that anymore with everything moving to the cloud. But if you're a graphic designer or something like that, you need a lot of local storage. You have that option. And and the thing to mention, we like to say we're the world's lightest enterprise laptop. Of course, there's lighter laptops out there potentially. But when you get to that enterprise grade laptop that is certified for your enterprise and it's enterprise grade specs, it's not just a bunch of cheap components. It's actually good enterprise grade stuff on the inside. We are by far the world's lightest. In fact, little funny story, just to kind of illustrate this. I was with my wife. We were coming out of, I think it was either Sam's Club or Costco. I can't remember, here in the Jacksonville area. And we had our consumer Graham sitting next to some of the other guys, HP, Dell, Lenovo. They're all sitting out on the table. And I didn't realize we had our consumer grade stuff in the Sam's Club at that time. So I said, oh, we go over. And when I saw my wife pick up the Graham and then also pick up some of the other guys, she realized right away, she was like, oh my gosh, this is so much nicer and lighter than the other devices, than the other laptops. And, many of you tech guys might be able to relate to this. For years, I don't know if my wife even knew what I did for a living when I was in IT, but when she saw this and just saw how much nicer this was, the light bulb went off in my head. I said, you know what, we're on to something here. We have something that is truly going to get people excited. And that's what we're seeing. So we unveiled our new product line of Grahams out at CES earlier this year out in Vegas. And what came from that is just a ton of press. So if you go into Google, you type LG Graham into the search bar, look at the news stories, you'll just see one after another, people just glowing about the Graham, excited about the Graham. And when we see that, a lot of times when, we put this in the hands of maybe your executive, I have another customer, they're a law firm, put it in the hands of a lawyer. These guys love it. They're like, oh my gosh, this thing is so sleek. It's so nice. It's so lightweight. It just got that appeal that, you haven't seen with laptops recently. So that's pretty cool. And just to illustrate my point, I like to show some of the news stories here. So I went out, I Googled this, I grabbed a few of these news stories that were out there. So this one's a little bit of an older one. This is right after CES. This headline from PC World says, the impossibly thin LG Graham Ultra Slim laptop pushes new boundaries. And they go on to just talk about, they looked at this thing at CES, and just, it was so lightweight. They were just blown away by it. Which is, again, the feedback we constantly hear about this. The Verge, this is after CES. The LG Graham style might be the prettiest laptop of 2023. And by the way, the Graham style is a brand new laptop we just came out with. So we had it at CES. It just released. We're doing this in the month of June, just released with us. And the cool thing about this one, if you can see the picture, is when you hover your hand over the laptop, the touchpad will actually illuminate with a little backlight. So, again, just really, really cool, innovative, just cool solutions, that we're coming out with. This is getting a lot of people excited. I have one customer, they've been basically once a week, hey, when's that one you showed me, with the backlit touchpad coming out. So we're finally able to get that to that customer, which is pretty cool. Here's a newer article: LG Gram Super Slim Review, world's thinnest laptop with great battery life. And that's something else, what we hear constantly from our customers and our partners and people that are using the Gram. For being so lightweight, being so thin, you would think, yeah, it must not have good battery life, but the exact opposite is true. It has incredible battery life, a run forever, and there's just not as many moving parts and everything else you see with a traditional laptop, and that all contributes to allow that battery life to last longer. So just really cool. You'll see here they say in the sub title, how can you get the MacBook Air 15 when the Super Slim exists? So you'll see in the next headline here, I'm seeing this more and more. People are comparing the Gram to the MacBook. We've always thought of the MacBook as the cooler solution. It looks nicer. It's got, a sleeker design than a lot of laptops out there. And now the interesting thing is you have people saying, no, the LG Gram go with that. That's cooler than the MacBook. In fact, this next guy goes as far to say, the LG Gram 16 is cheaper, better than the MacBook Air M2. Fight me. So he's taking that a step further. He's doubling down on that. And when we're seeing this constantly, and of course this was from Laptop Mag. I didn't have the logo on the top left, but so again, definitely go out there, Google LG Gram, see what you find, and we'd love to talk to you. I mean, if you're out there and you're watching this and you're like, man, this is resonating. I mean, we've been stuck using one of the 3 hardware vendors that that have existed. Having this newer option from a company with a brand name like LG, coming out with solutions that are not just competitive with the other ones, but they're just frankly better and more sleek. I think there's just a lot of opportunity there. So we're very excited about it. And if you're excited about it, definitely would love to talk to you. But that's all I have. So what I'll do is I'll just kind of pause here, and I'm going to kind of throw it back to you, Phil. If you have any questions that came in, I'd be happy to answer those.
Yeah, we've got a couple. Definitely want to answer this one. What does your support model look like for your thin clients and the LG Grams?
Yeah, no, that's a great question, and that's frankly something that we, when you think about Dell and HP, they've been around a long time. They have these really great support models. So what we do is we have an enterprise support team. They're all over the U.S. and we are ramping that up as we're ramping up production of the LG Gram. Our plan is to not only be able to compete with how good Dell and HP have been over the years, but to have better support. That's really what we're aiming for. So today we have all of the same things that they offer. So if you need that, they come standard with a 3-year warranty. Our thin clients do, and then our Grams come with a standard 1-year warranty. So you can buy up on that if you want to get a 1, 3, or 5-year. And we have up to, if you need next day replacement, we have that option. So, we kind of have that white glove service where, someone will get it out to you the next day. And I think what we'll find here over the next few years is as that business ramps up, people will not only think of us as how cool our devices are, but how awesome our support is. Because, we have just a great support team led by some really, really great leadership.
Yeah, support's a key. I mean, especially when you're dealing with hundreds or thousands of units as a customer. So that's great to hear.
Yeah.
So we've got someone asking, what happens if your all-in-one stops working? So I know from a form factor, it's great to have everything in one single package, but what are our options?
Yeah, another great question. So a little story on that. One point in my career, I had my own IT consulting business, and I would have customers. I remember I had one customer specifically. They loved all-in-ones. They loved the idea of it, and I would try to convince them, please do not buy an all-in-one. Like it's a Windows all-in-ones back in the day, and the reason for it back then was just because, hey, if your hard drive crashes, that thing is it's dead. It's dead wall. There's nothing you can do. They're hard to work on, they're not really friendly like the old PCs were. So back then it was like, hey, buy a PC. If your hard drive crashes, I can have that thing up and running in no time. But what's really changed with the all-in-ones I mentioned earlier are the internals, right? Having fanless design, no moving parts. So having that solid state hard drive in there, the SATA M2 hard drive. A lot of that has just gotten so much more efficient. Now, with that said, hey, look, it's still electronics, right? I mean, things happen. Some of our customers like to use our devices, especially our joint iGel customers. they'll run these things forever. Where traditionally you'd have a 5-year refresh cycle with a PC, maybe even 7. Now what you're seeing is, or I'm sorry, maybe even 3. Now what you're seeing is they're pushing out 7 years. They're pushing out 5 to sometimes 7, sometimes even as close to 9 or 10 years out there. And these things will just run. There's not a lot of things you need now. But if it did happen, let's say the motherboard went, or I don't know, this M2 SATA hard drive failed or whatever, or the RAM failed. The beauty is that all of our all-in-ones also double as a monitor. So you can take any one of our all-in-ones and you can plug. There's a little, I think it's a HDMI in port. You plug right into it, and boom, it's a monitor. So it's a great feature, and it's something that a lot of people don't think about, but it really is another differentiator for us.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And we were finding, my last customer organization, we were pushing refresh cycles from 3 to 4 years on traditional laptops. So 7 years is an amazing value for thin clients.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you talked a little bit about the collapsible video camera webcam on yours. So this question kind of comes along with that. How do your thin clients handle unified communications?
Yeah, and again, another great question. So, and during the pandemic, we saw this shift so dramatically, right? Where nobody was really doing unified communications, or if they were, it was very light pre-pandemic. But once everybody got sent home, and Zoom, I wish I had Zoom stock at the time, that went through the roof, as well as the use of Zoom, and Microsoft, comes out with Teams and ramps that up. Of course, you have Cisco WebEx. You kind of see that. We saw a huge uptick in users doing unified communications, and frankly, at the time, that happened, and this is not, this is across the board. Every manufacturer, they weren't building thin clients to have the compute that might be needed when you're just fully depending on unified communications. So, so what we've done, with our models is all of our devices will handle unified communications, and we'll handle them well. Again, I'm doing this webinar from a 34-inch all-in-one. I have the entry-level model. I don't have the high-end model. I'm running Zoom. It runs great. I'm in Citrix all day long, and it just works. It just works really well. But if you have that use case where you need more juice, so let's say you're in Teams meetings with your whole team, 10 people plus whatever, you need a little extra horsepower. That's where we have that higher tier model on all of our devices, our thin client devices. So either the all-in-one or the small form factor, if you really need that. And I'm working with a customer right now on a proof of concept, and they're all day in these giant Teams meetings, and they've been actually running our high-end all-in-one device versus the other manufacturers, and their feedback has been the LG performs the best, and this is with iGel as well. So yeah, so short answer, that was the long answer. The short answer is yes, they all work. There is a caveat there where you got to understand. It's good to understand how much are you using, especially Teams. Teams is just very resource intensive. So definitely have a conversation with us. We can help you get spec'd out, make sure you're running the right model. And we'd love to talk to you if that's the case.
So what can a customer expect in terms of pricing versus like a Dell Wise or HP or Lenovo?
Yeah, you know what? Great question. And this is one that I didn't mention this in the presentation, but just another reason I'm excited to be here. When you imagine coming up, and there's a few companies out there, maybe smaller hardware companies. The problem when you go with a smaller hardware company is always going to be economies of scale, right? So somebody can come out, Phil, you and I could start a hardware company, come out with something, really high end, works better than the stuff out there. The problem is we're not going to have the economies of scale. We can't produce that stuff at a lower price point as some of these massive, Fortune 500 companies can. It's going to be hard to compete in that space. The thing that sets LG apart here, and they entered this space already being this massive Fortune 500 company, one of the leading, largest technology companies in the world. They entered in this space with all of these manufacturing plants and everything already in place, and so it's very interesting. We can a lot of times the feedback we get is we win on price a lot of times. So when we're going head to head with the other big guys, we're able to make our hardware much at a very nice hardware at a much lower cost than even some of the biggest names out there. Well, sometimes we're even, when you think of, some of the popular, whether it's Dell or HP, LG is actually a larger company, right? So we have just incredible economies of scale. We're able to mass produce technology, and so price is an area where we win a lot of times, which is again just unique to who we are as LG, and something that it doesn't come around often, right? Where you're going to have a company become the newer guy to the market. We've been in the market about 10 years, but we can win on price. It's pretty interesting, to say the least.
Well, for what it's worth, after the question came in, I spent a couple minutes. You intrigued me enough with the LG Gram that I spent a few minutes on Amazon looking around, and that holds true. Even out on Amazon, just looking at the different models and the specs that are out there. All right, so we're coming to the end of the line here. Someone's listening. How can they test one of these devices?
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what, if you're on this call, you're watching the webinar, on the YouTube channel or LinkedIn, wherever, reach out, so definitely reach out to XenTegra. They're one of our best partners. I love working with XenTegra, not just because I, worked with them and for them at some point. You guys are definitely far and away one of the best partners in the country when it comes to, serving the customer and, actually providing value. So that you can definitely reach out to your XenTegra rep. That's one way. Reach out to us at LG. We can always get a demo unit to you to test. Just come talk to us, and we'd love to give you something to test with.
That's fantastic. Yeah. And if all else fails, trying to get in touch with XenTegra, sales@XenTegra.com is a great avenue for you to get in touch with us. And we'll certainly get you routed to the appropriate salesperson and try to get your needs met. Well, Patrick,
Awesome.
I have to say, I don't think we've got any other questions. It was such a cool experience getting to co-host with you today. I really appreciate the information you shared, and this was great.
Yeah, well, Phil, thanks for having me. Again, it's always good to see you, and excited. We're doing a lot of things together here, XenTegra and LG. Definitely excited about the future here, and looking forward to doing more with you guys. And to all the people on the call, definitely thank you for joining. And nice to talk with a few of you in the chat briefly. And thanks again for taking the time.
Yeah, absolutely. We appreciate our live guests and everyone that's watching back on YouTube. We really do, love what we do here at XenTegra, and we get to do it with great vendor partners, folks we believe in, folks we've achieved great things. As you heard from Patrick, we've got customers that are both, referenceable customers that are XenTegra and LG customers, along with iGel and our other vendor partners. So it is a joy to get to bring these to you on a weekly basis. And we would love to be able to work with you to have success in your business as well. Quick reminder, we still have the Work Has No Boundaries giveaway going on. So get out to workhasnoboundaries.com and find out how you can get qualified to win one of our 2 Ford Broncos that we're giving away this year. As always, on the flip side, we will see you next week for another partner spotlight. Patrick, thank you again. Thanks everybody for joining, and have a great afternoon.
Great. Thanks, Phil. Thanks, everybody. Take care.